Have you ever wondered what truly happens when the flame of love, once so vibrant, begins to flicker and fade? Have you felt that subtle, unsettling shift in a relationship? A creeping chill where warmth once resided? Today, we're not just exploring the painful experience of falling out of love. We're delving into the profound insights of one of history's most brilliant minds, Carl Jung, to uncover the two undeniable signs that emerge when love begins its silent retreat. Prepare to have your perceptions challenged, your understanding deepened, and perhaps to find clarity in the confusing fog of a changing heart. We've all been there, or witnessed it from afar. The passionate embrace cools, the shared laughter lessens, and a subtle but profound distance begins to grow. It's a painful process, often fraught with denial and confusion. But Jung, with his profound understanding of the human psyche, offered us a roadmap to these emotional shifts. He saw patterns, not just in individual minds, but in the universal currents of human connection. And what he observed, what he meticulously documented, were two primary indicators that signal the beginning of the end. The initial tremors before the full earthquake of a love lost. Let's dive into the first of these profound observations. Imagine a relationship once characterized by a vibrant, almost osmotic exchange of thoughts, feelings, and experiences. There was an eagerness to share, a desire to be heard, and an even stronger impulse to truly listen. Now observe closely. The first thing you'll notice, the subtle but undeniable red flag, is a marked decrease in authentic communication and a growing superficiality in interactions. It's not just that they talk less, it's how they talk. The deep, meaningful conversations that once cemented your bond start to evaporate, replaced by perfunctory exchanges about logistics, weather, or trivialities. Think about it. When you truly love someone, you want to share your inner world with them. You want to confide your fears, celebrate your triumphs, and explore your dreams. Your conversations are a living, breathing entity, constantly evolving, deeply personal, and often vulnerable. But when love begins to wane, that desire for genuine connection recedes. The person who no longer loves, you will start to erect subtle barriers. They might still respond, but their responses lack depth, empathy, or genuine engagement. You might find yourself doing most of the emotional heavy lifting in conversations, trying to elicit a deeper response, only to be met with polite but detached replies. It's the difference between a conversation and an interview. In a loving relationship, a conversation flows organically, with both parties contributing to a shared understanding. When love fades, it becomes more like an interview, where one person is asking questions and the other is giving only the bare minimum of information, often deflecting or changing the subject. They avoid topics that require emotional investment, preferring to stay on the surface. This isn't necessarily malicious. It's often an unconscious withdrawal, a psychological self-preservation mechanism as their emotional energy shifts elsewhere. Consider the active listening that once defined your interactions. The nodding, the eye contact, the insightful questions, the genuine curiosity. When love begins to dissipate, that active listening diminishes. They might be physically present, but their mind is elsewhere. You might notice them fidgeting, looking away, or even interrupting more frequently. Their responses become generic, less personalized, and devoid of the emotional resonance that once characterized their engagement with you. It's like their emotional antenna has been turned down, no longer picking up the nuanced signals of your feelings and thoughts. This superficiality isn't just about what they say. It's also about what they don't say. The once spontaneous expressions of affection, the casual "I love you," the genuine compliments, or the sharing of small, intimate details about their day. These slowly fade away. The emotional landscape becomes barren, devoid of the little gestures and verbal affirmations that once nourished the relationship. It's a subtle but chilling silence, speaking volumes about the growing emotional chasm. Now, let's move to Jung's second profound insight, an observation that often goes hand in hand with the first, amplifying its impact. If the first sign is a change in the nature of communication, the second is about the direction of their focus. When someone no longer loves you, they will begin to exhibit a growing disinterest in your well-being, your concerns, and your future, coupled with a heightened focus on their own individual needs and desires. This isn't just selfishness in the conventional sense. It's a psychological detachment that shifts their emotional energy inward, or towards other interests, rather than outward towards you. When love is present, there's an inherent desire to nurture, protect, and support the other person. Your joys are their joys. Your sorrows are their sorrows. There's a shared sense of purpose, a feeling of being in it together. But when love recedes, that shared focus dissolves. You might notice a distinct lack of empathy for your struggles. When you share a difficult day at work, a personal setback, or a health concern, their response might be muted, perfunctory, or even dismissive. They might offer superficial advice, but there's no genuine emotional resonance, no true attempt to understand or alleviate your pain. It's as if your problems are no longer their problems, and the emotional burden falls solely on your shoulders. Their future plans, which once seamlessly intertwined with yours, begin to diverge. They might start making decisions without consulting you, or expressing desires for a future that clearly doesn't include you in the central role. The we slowly but surely morphs into I. Their conversations about the future become less about shared dreams and more about their individual aspirations, often articulated in a way that subtly, or not so subtly, excludes you. Consider the little things. Do they still remember important dates, like anniversaries or your birthday, with the same enthusiasm? Do they still offer to help with tasks that are challenging for you? Do they show genuine interest in your passions and hobbies, even if they don't share them? When love fades, these gestures of care and consideration diminish. Their attention shifts from anticipating your needs to fulfilling their own. This self-focus can manifest in various ways. They might become increasingly preoccupied with their work, their friendships, their hobbies, or even just their own personal space. They might spend more time alone or with others, showing less desire to spend quality time with you. It's not necessarily that they found someone else, although that can certainly be a factor. It's more about a reprioritization of their emotional investments, with you falling lower on the list. Jung understood that the psyche is constantly seeking balance and fulfillment. When a relationship no longer provides that fulfillment, the emotional energy naturally seeks new outlets. This isn't a judgment, it's an observation of a fundamental psychological process. The person who no longer loves you isn't necessarily a villain. They are simply following the natural inclination of their psyche to seek what it needs, and that need no longer includes the same level of investment in your shared bond. So, how do these two signs intertwine? The decrease in authentic communication creates a void, an emotional distance. Into that void rushes the amplified self-focus. Without the genuine exchange of thoughts and feelings, there's less understanding, less empathy, and ultimately, less connection. And as the connection weakens, the emotional energy is naturally redirected, leading to a diminished interest in your well-being and a heightened preoccupation with their own. It's a tragic dance, often played out in slow motion, leaving one partner bewildered and heartbroken. But recognizing these Jungian insights can provide a crucial sense of clarity. It's not about blame. It's about understanding the psychological mechanics at play. If you observe these two signs, the decline in authentic communication and the shift to self-focus, it's a strong indicator that the emotional landscape of your relationship is undergoing a profound and potentially irreversible change. This understanding is not meant to be an instrument of despair, but rather a tool for insight and, ultimately, for self-preservation. When you can identify these patterns, you can begin to make informed decisions about your own well-being. It allows you to move beyond denial and into a space of conscious awareness. What then should be your response when you observe these signs? Jung would encourage introspection and self-awareness. It's an opportunity to acknowledge the reality of the situation, however painful it may be. It's a chance to turn your attention inward, to understand your own needs, and to begin the process of emotional healing. It's about recognizing that love, like all living things, can change, evolve, and sometimes, sadly, wither. And just as you nourish a plant when it thrives, you must also understand when it's time to let go, when the conditions are no longer conducive to growth. So, as we conclude this exploration, remember the wisdom of Carl Jung. Look not just at the grand gestures, but at the subtle shifts. Pay attention to the quality of your conversations. Observe where emotional energy is being directed. By understanding these two profound indicators, the diminishing authentic communication and the increasing self-focus, you gain a powerful lens through which to view the complex and often painful reality of love lost. This knowledge, though perhaps difficult to confront, can ultimately empower you to navigate these challenging waters with clarity, strength, and a deeper understanding of the human heart. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey. Until next time, keep seeking the truth within